I swing and nobody gets hit.
It's not consistent at all.
The grab hammer just really currently is not doing what it's supposed to do. The timing's totally wrong from the time that you press the trigger to the time it inflicts the damage.
Kale, your bug sucks.
Please fix your bug, Kale.
Probably the weirdest bug I've seen so far is one where you were able to get Master Chief's head stuck into the ceiling and his body would just stretch down.
When two people would lunge at one another, there was a possibility for them to actually pass through one another.
Get a person positioned on a rock, and as you're lunging at them, if they drop off the back of the rock, you're going to have to go sailing about half a mile in the air.
It's really difficult to figure out all the different ways somebody is going to play our game.
People will play this in totally bizarre ways.
Kills with just the sword, and they'll just want to go through the game by never using weapons. It really has to change the way that you think about testing the game.
Game testing is an incredibly tedious process. The main reason it's important to test Halo is we add this one new character or one new weapon. Everything we change has a potential to crash the game.
Ooh, face.
The testing of Xbox Live requires hours and hours of automation for our matchmaking. When you have over 100,000 simultaneous users playing your game, it's very complicated and requires lots and lots of boxes.
There's so many interconnections between code and content.
It is a system that whenever you go into it, if you're going to make changes, you'd better be damn sure what you're doing is not completely breaking things.
The key to Bungie's success is not some sort of magic. It's testers that keep the build stable to make sure that everything is as fun as it could be.
We're grunts. We kind of do the dirty work. We all get in about 6 o'clock. In the first 2 hours, we test just to make sure basic things like the level loads, that the player spawns into the level, we can run, jump, fire weapons, exit the game. That has to happen first thing in the morning because, like with the current test we're working on, it's 11,000 lines of test cases. And then the developers, they want to make sure that they have a functioning build that they can then work on that day.
We required the testers to shoot everything, run through everything, jump 15,000 times in the same place to see if it'll break the game.
These are the weapons that failed on the hull of the Wraith.
Wow, okay, let me change the model and make sure that's not an issue.
One of my niches is finding a hole in the world and that allows you to get outside the playable area. Each time they fix one, it may create another hole somewhere else because of the geometry. So it's this back and forth battle.
The test team swears they tried to jump from limb to limb in the tree and get on top of that rock, you know, and none of them could do it. And then the first day you see a movie on YouTube where somebody gets on top of the rock and gets outside the world.
Manual testing really is for stuff that we need visual verification. Somebody has to watch what's going on and check a box. It actually works the way that we intended.
So go ahead and do a full 8. 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. So that one worked.
When you click campaign on the main menu, it takes you to the campaign UI screen.
When we're looking at player colors, I checked color 1, I checked color 2.
If you want to add something in single player, is this going to up multiplayer in any way?
The difference between multiplayer testing and single player testing is that in multiplayer, you've got a lot more variables that can be going on. You can't control.
You can have up to 16 machines in the same game, and there's going to be different network latency and lag.
A lot of times it's just a mistake where they'll transpose a number or leave a decimal point off.
One machine may think that one person's over here, and the other machine may think that the person is over there.
But all of a sudden, that bullet that should have struck you in your left earlobe, it actually grazes right by, and now the whole world has skewed and you've gone out of sync.
What?
We had a crash. We have designers who take a weapon like the shotgun or the sword and they get it to work perfectly on a single box. But then you put it in 2 boxes that are separated. One guy's playing in Maryland and one guy's playing in LA. And then all of a sudden, the designer goes, what the hell happened? This weapon's terrible. It doesn't work at all.
I'm going to invite the Japanese guys to our game now. Eigo hanashimasu ka? Ganbarimashou. What does it feel like to play US to Japan? Because none of us have done it yet. And Luke wrote all the networking code, so.
Anytime you change one line of code, you absolutely can end up in ways you wouldn't expect.
Every time you add a new kind of weapon, adding that sort of complexity can up other weapons.
They're seeing pings of in the 200s.
Changing a value on a weapon could break the way it reloads. Speeding the Warthog up by just a mile an hour at top speed could mean every time you go off a jump of over 5 meters, you die. If you don't test that jump, as soon as you ship the game, the world is screaming because they're dying every time you take the jump.
The way Bungie tests involves everyone. The artist is testing by running the game and adding new textures to it. Designers testing the game by adding a new vehicle or tweaking the raid. Marty, C. Paul, and Jay are testing the game by tweaking audio. It's people sitting at their desk doing work, testing our game.
The emphasis on tests definitely comes from the top.
The studio manager for Bungie right now is Harold Ryan, who was the test manager for Halo 1 and Halo 2.
You can never test enough. We have a dedicated test team in the studio that works on the project from the first day we start on it.
Here, it's a much more methodical, professional approach to testing.
A lot of times you'll find the testers know some of the systems better than the engineers do.
Harold understands exactly what tests can do, and he has high expectations.
Jamie is definitely a Padawan test manager. He has not yet earned his stripes.
Love my job. Yay, are you hiring? For the lifetime of Halo 3, we have like 30,000 bugs in the database, of which 27,000 of them are fixed, but still we have 3,000 bugs that are active in the database while we're adding hundreds of bugs per day from the test team, and it's only going to go up.
It takes about 3 years of testing to test a game, about 20 days of which the game's actually tested outside of Bungie's building.
Microsoft has a group of people devoted to doing user research.
It's called usability testing. We actually run one participant at a time.
Now it's time to get out of here. Ooh, I think he's got me.
It's all about getting inside the player's head.
The whole user research team is a bunch of PhDs in psychology that sort of map out people's experience.
We're looking at how the user feels about this level or that level of that vehicle.
I like how smart these things are. It doesn't do the same thing over and over again.
There's a completely different experience for a designer actually watching other people play the game.
I think I need to go in that cave.
Everybody, nope. Being able to stand there with a notepad and just write things down is just totally invaluable.
Even though there's one-way glass in between us and them, you still have to be careful, because if you laugh too loud, it goes right through the glass, and then they can tell that you're laughing.
I want to welcome you guys for today's playtest session. We're not testing you guys, we're testing the game.
The other kind of testing that we do is called play testing, and that's where we try and get a broader sample. When you get 80% of the people with some type of problem, well, then you know you have more of an issue.
I take them very seriously, but our playtests are incredibly painful. I've seen people get stuck in one encounter for 10 minutes. You almost are apologizing. Dude, I'm so sorry. Oh, turn right, please, turn right now.
When we were playtesting the Halo 1 tutorial, we had people getting so frustrated that they just wanted to quit and go home. We had several people ask to stop playing, which is kind of embarrassing as the designer.
We get so much data from testing, not just what's broken and what's buggy, but we get a lot of data about what's fun and what's not fun.
Can the camera still?
You've been punked. There is no Halo 3.
Oh, no.
For Halo 3, we've basically instrumented the entire game. Almost immediately after a playtest, we'll get data that will tell us things that are going to frustrate or confuse or irritate a player.
Just kind of the 6 high-level things that we're collecting in playtest. The fun is up.
So we have a number of ways of representing the data, and the most significant one is to show it visually on a map. If it's a multiplayer level, showing all the spots where people die. If it's a single-player level, showing all the parts where people said they were frustrated.
If we're confused, you can actually click on a data point and it will load up a film of that person and how they died.
Yeah. You want to maximize the amount of time that the player's having fun.
It's really a difficult thing to do, to make it okay that you die a couple times, but not too many times.
We do a lot of playtests to make sure that everybody else is having fun, but really I only know that it's fun when I'm having fun.
As you're closing a game out, you go through the difficult process of having to decide what things you want to fix that we call triage. Every time you fix a bug, you have the potential to create many more bugs.
Triage, or Joe calls it blood-sucking vampire whore.
It's like taking a hammer and hammering nails through your... Never mind.
Films are not displaying the multiplayer flashing name when using a headset.
Mislabeled territories on Valhalla. This is insane.
We just gotta power through it because it takes forever. We've already been up here an hour and a half and we just want to finish. And it makes us all good friends too. I love Joe.
We always leave these meetings wanting to kill each other.
Exactly. I like you though. I don't like that guy, but I like you.
A lot of times, design and test are sort of at loggerheads.
The artists and designers are never done. There's always one more thing that could tweak.
We just need to figure out how to get more reinforcements and more waves, add more cover.
You're just shoveling in content, and it's very difficult to keep it bug-free.
Sometimes new code slips in that we don't know about, and that causes me to be a little bit less smiley face. We're like, what? What are you guys doing? Why did you add this?
My job is to make the game more fun, whereas the test team looks at it, their job is to make sure the game is stable. If I'm completely happy, then it means we shouldn't have made the change because it was too risky. And if test is completely happy, then we probably aren't making enough changes. But if we're both sort of unhappy, that's usually the best state.
If the developer guys didn't put bugs in, we wouldn't have jobs. But luckily enough, the dev guys put a couple bugs in there, and I feel like I have the best job security of the bunch.
Once again.
We take a lot of effort to make sure the game is stable, that the game is fun, and that at least 90% of the people out there, they'll have a good time playing it.
There are a couple of crashes that we won't be able to figure out that we'll blame on solar flares or space aliens.
As long as the game doesn't set your house on fire, all the imperfections, I'm perfectly fine with it going out the door.
You never want to let it go, you always want to iterate on it, but if we really believe it's not ready to go out the door, it won't go out the door.